Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode on All About You, from real women to real women out there. Okay, so get your cup of tea ready because today's topic promises some revelations, no?
Yep.
From people, from,
Honest talk and lots of help.
That's right. So what's today's topic?
Today's
Tola?
topic is, does forgiving mean forgetting? What do you think?
Well, I believe that we go through things in life. We have a tendency to feel something about things that happen, which means you feel tempted to not forgive. But we obviously are not able to forget. We have a brain, a memory, unless, like I was discussing with Tula before we started recording, unless you have amnesia or something medical, which is not usually the case, right? So tell me, Chris, have you ever had to forgive?
I have on several occasions. I think everyone has at some point, right? Because, we all go through things in life. Things happen, things that we don't expect. But
with family, friends, colleagues.
Exactly. I mean, in my case, especially growing up, I was the kind of person that just wanted everyone to like me. So even when someone hurt me, I would still kind of go running after them and try and be nice and buy gifts and all these kind of things. I was a bit needy. Yeah.
So, but then is an understatement.
I know. And then I wasn't being realistic in that, you're not going to get along with them. Not everyone's going to like you. But then I went through more serious things, as I grew older, where there was a point where my dad didn't speak to me for 15 years because he didn't agree with a certain decision that I made. So that one really hurts. And it was very difficult to deal with. And I tried again to reconcile with him and, go and see him at his workplace. He didn't want to know. He just point blank, disowned me, basically.
Okay.
So, but even then I thought he's still my dad. And even though I don't agree with what he's doing, I can't hate him for this.
Of course.
So I cried a lot. I have to admit, I did cry a lot. He didn't go to my wedding or anything when I got married. So it was a difficult time. But at the same time, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to move on. It was his choice not to speak to me. I've tried what I can do.
Of course.
What could I do in that situation? Things turned around in the end, but everything worked out in the end.
So there was forgiveness.
There was, yeah.
Okay, so that's what matters, isn't it? Well, we all go through situations in life. I have also been through many situations in life. There will be other ones coming up because while we are alive, people will always be people. I want you to understand this. There are no safe places on this earth, safe, inverted commas, where you will never be hurt. And this is very, how can I say, what hurts me may not hurt you, isn't it? So it's your perception of things, of people, your expectations on people that hurt you. That's what I found after a few years of being alive, and having to forgive, is that you should never have high expectations of people because people are people. And this is something that helped me and helps me forgive people. I always remember myself. I must have let people down for sure. Maybe I've promised something. How many times did we've agreed to go out for tea or something and I said, oh, Priscilla, sorry, it's not going to happen. Oh, I was ready.
I've had to forgive her so many times.
See?
But it was fine. I understood.
We're still friends. We're still alive. My husband usually says, it's not going to kill you. Just forgive and move on. But we will delve into this a bit more later. For now, we're going to see what the people on the streets of London have to say about this.
People find hard to forgive because pride is on the way and it's hard to let go because we all, on our nature, very egocentric. We hold on to our grudges because it keeps our defenses up, so we have to let go to be free and feel better?
I don't think so. I think when you forgive someone, you acknowledge that their action was like not wrong, but you're okay with it. And that doesn't mean that you have to forget about the incident at all, because sometimes it can tell you a lot about the person and who they are. I think it's hard for people to forgive sometimes because depending on what happened, really like personal, or it can have like further effects than just like that moment. You have to, if it expands upon who you are, if it affected you in a personal way, then it might be harder. People might just tend to be more cautious when forgiving.
No, for us, I'm a born-again Christian. Forgiving doesn't mean you ever forget. It becomes your testimony. So no, I don't see it as that. Not to remind you of what happened, but just to give a testimony of where the Lord has really, have taken you out and restore you. Before that, I was like very unforgiving. I was full of anger, resentment. When I came to the Lord, He taught me about forgiveness. So it's difficult to explain, He forgave us for our sins, so how can one not forgive the ones that hurt you?
Forgiving to me doesn't mean forgetting. I think forgiveness is like a very spiritual, internal journey, and I think everyone should be able to forgive. It's a good virtue, but it doesn't always mean forgetting. You always carry your memories with you all your life. I guess depends on time as well, which is an important parameter defining memory and forgetting something. But I think, I'm not a psychologist, but you could trace it back to, maybe your character, your childhood experiences. From people to people, it really depends like how your capacity and how much your heart allows to forgive. So it's a very personal thing. I think some people can, some people can't. It depends on their previous life and experiences.
For me, it's not really forgetting. It's forgiving means you are actually like over it, but the pain or the damage that has been done, it's not really easy to forget. Forgiving is like you're okay with it, but that doesn't mean that you're like you actually like forget it or something like that. Because of course, that's what I said, like because of the damage that has been done. After that, you will not be the same person anymore. That is why it is somehow hard, especially if it's really bad and stuff. Yeah, it's part of life. It's part of living. In life, you have to know that in time or whatever comes to your life, it will happen somehow. Like whether you like it or not. Someone will hurt you. You're required to forgive. You're required to forget. But you're required to forgive, but that doesn't mean that you have to forget.
Well, this was the opinion of some people on the streets of London. Very interesting. I'm actually impressed, that some people mentioned that you got to move on. But there was someone there.
Maybe it was the people that were actually selected just happened to be, those kind of people that don't hold things. But I don't know if we really got to those that not only don't forget, but they don't forgive as well.
However, Chris, the thing is, some people say, I've forgiven, but they haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, because how do you know you haven't forgiven? Is that old excuse, I forgave you, but I don't want to see you ever again, okay? You are out of my life, or I don't talk to you anymore. Maybe you are a family member. So there wasn't forgiveness. Obviously, depending on what happened to you, if you were a victim of abuse or rape or whatever, obviously you're not going to stick around and be friends with your abuser.
Of course, yeah.
That's common sense. But sometimes small things such as a comment made on a Christmas evening, at a dinner party with your family, usually, the dinners go south sometimes because everyone is there and you get different people there and then, people have opinions and that hurts your feelings. And then next time, I don't want to be there. I don't want to see the person ever again. So you haven't forgiven. Okay, so forgiveness is when you understand what happened. You understand, hold on a second, why am I so hurt? Because of this, and that. Okay, what should I do about this? Is this someone that I should be around with next time I see them? No, they have a negative influence on me. Maybe it's an abuser or someone who takes you down the, not so good routes.
Toxic friend.
Toxic, exactly. So, but you still decide, you know what? She doesn't know what she's doing. She's come from a very difficult background. Just let me move on. So that's forgiveness. You are still able to say good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah.
You can still look the person in the eye, but you don't have to be besties with someone that, for example, betrayed you in a way. I don't know. Do you want to give some examples?
Yeah,
'Cause this is a very, sorry to interrupt you, this is a very tricky topic, because some people, especially those with a grudge, will hold on to anything they can to justify their grudge. So if I say, oh, if this person is a toxic friendship, oh, you see, so I'm right. Is it, okay, maybe this person is not the best person for me to hang around with, but I'm still going to be human and polite around the person. I'm not going to be bad-mouthing her. I'm not going to be avoiding her. I'll be sociable, but not just hanging around like before.
This topic is so vast and so deep. We can probably do a few shows just on this topic alone. But the thing is, you have to kind of see, is it really a problem? What happened? Is it really a problem? Or is it me being overly sensitive? My perception, if I'm overly sensitive because of maybe something that's happened in the past to me. Mm-hmm. So now any little thing that people do, it gets to me and I hold something, against that person, against those people. Or is it genuinely something that I'm not being oversensitive? Yes, what happened to me was really bad. I do deserve to be upset. Mm-hmm. However, I can't allow this thing to consume me and ruin the rest of my life.
And to change you as a person and turn you into something that you never wanted to be.
The thing is, when you have a grudge, it's like you are constantly chained to that person. If say if they did something really bad to you, you are... It's like you have
still
this
connected.
chain. You're connected. Everything you try to do, everywhere you try to go, it's like you're being pulled back. Yeah. And you're
constantly reminded.
All the time.
For example, let me just mention an example that may be popular among women, okay? Please don't hate me, but I'm sure you will agree with me. So, for example, you have this very good friend of yours, and you open up to her about everything. And she went and told you secrets to somebody else. So then you find out and then you get really upset and now you have a problem with forgiving her. Follow the advice I gave you when we started the program. Listen, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you so upset? Ask yourself questions. And in this particular example, you will see that you shouldn't have in the first place opened your heart to another human being that is as fallible as you are. Who should you open up to 100% with no reserves? God, in your prayer. Or with your spouse, someone you share a life with. But a friend is a friend. A friend doesn't walk in your shoes. So from the moment that you share a secret with your friend, you are giving her something that, oh my God, what am I going to do with this information, right? She told me that she's going through this and that and the family's breaking apart. I've got to tell somebody. Do you understand? So learn to, friendship is not a green card to tell them everything about your married life. This is personal. Married life, and this is something I see a lot, I hear, married ladies who go and share their personal lives with other friends. And then next thing you know, and we will have episodes about marriage, many, I promise you. But then you have your friends looking at your husband in a funny way. And then something happens. Oh, suddenly a friend has a crush on your husband. And then you hate the person for it. But you were the one who shared your intimacy with your friend. Do you understand? So most times we are wrong about unforgiveness. That's the truth. Mm. And I know this may be very hard, maybe a very tough pill to swallow. Mm. But it's like we said, it has a lot to do with perception, how I see things. There are things that upset a woman more than a man because men tend to be very practical about things. The other day I was in the lift with my husband and another few colleagues. And he turned around and said, "Oh, you've gone fat." And I was so embarrassed. As soon as I got home, I said to my husband, "Why did you say that?" "What? What did I say? What's wrong with what I said?" "You called the other person." "I didn't call him fat. I just told him what happened." I said, "Okay." So I understand that, to a man, we are wired differently. We're not here talking about men and women, but let's go back to the topic at hand. And I'm going to read a few comments, okay? Remember, you can follow us on social media, Instagram. All the details are on the screen, okay? Godlywood UK. Now, let's see the first one. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean forgetting, as some situations aren't that easy to move past, but forgiveness helps you to heal and move on from the situation. That's correct. Now, another one. I think people find it hard to forgive because they think that it shows that the person who hurt them has won. But in reality, this isn't the case because forgiving sets us free. Mm-hmm. If we refuse to give someone who hurt us, we become stuck in that moment and we are not able to move on. I think what she means is if we, don't find a way to forgive, it's like you are connected to the person forever, like you mentioned. The chain, right? Do you have any other?
Yeah, I've got one as well. Some may find it hard to forgive because they want to make a statement that what was done is unacceptable and that they don't deserve their trust again. So they see forgiving as breaking that statement, which is quite an interesting way of looking at things. That is true. People say, look, you hurt me, so I'm actually going to make sure you know that you hurt me by not forgiving the person.
Right.
Obviously, that's not healthy, but
part of forgiveness is when you are ready, when you are no longer angry, you should go to the person and actually talk things through. This is on my mind. What you did really hurt my feelings, and I want to talk to you about this. And see what happens. This is very helpful in the process of forgiving. So we have one last comment. Well, we have many comments, but obviously we can't get through all. But it says, forgiving may be difficult, but it's honestly the best thing to do. Forgiving does not mean you will forget. It will always leave a scar. But once you forgive, there will no longer be a wound. I believe people find it hard to forgive because they don't want to look like the weak person, the person that can be taken advantage of. Now, I understand why people think this way. Obviously, I've been there too. But the thing is, whoever hurt you just moved on. Most times, Chris, they don't even know they hurt you. And there you are, suffering and, completely paralyzed by fear or whatever emotions you were left with. So forgiving is a smart thing to do. It's a healthy thing to do. Okay? Now, I just want to read a Bible verse. Do you want to read the Bible verse of today?
Sure.
Let's see what Jesus thinks about this whole thing of forgiveness.
Once again, full of wise words, right?
Well,
okay, let's go. So, for if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses.
So, why should you aim for God's forgiveness? Because you want to be happy. You want things to run smoothly in your life. You want God's blessing. You want God's peace in you. You want God's joy inside of you, when you're doing well in your life, you are in the right path. You are not doing any harm to people around you. You are loving people around you, your children, your family. You feel good about it, right? So your conscience is clean. So how can you want to interrupt that peace? Well, we do when we don't forgive other people.
I think this is also God's way of actually saying, well, look, you make mistakes as well. You you cause people to hold grudges, maybe through your behavior or something that you've done. So don't think you're all that and think that you're
Chris,
perfect.
we are really not all that.
We're not. We do the same thing. Like you said, sometimes we hurt people without even realizing.
Yeah.
I've had situations where people come to me and say, look, I want to forgive you because I had a grudge because of something that you said and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know. I didn't realize. So this is actually saying as well to us that, okay, I will forgive you, but you have to see that you forgive others because you make the, okay, maybe the gravity of the mistake isn't the same, but still you make mistakes. I make mistakes, you make mistakes.
So, before we go, we want to just talk a little bit about family. Family is a very good thing. And many things happen within a family. There are family secrets. There are family recipes. There are family outings and bondings. There's many things that family do and live together. And it is within family usually that there is the most unforgiveness. It's that, usual thing, oh, why did my mom did this to me? Why did I grow up without a father? Why was I brought up like this? Why didn't I ever go to university? Why didn't my parents buy, the school fees or whatever? Why? We can only ask why when we walk in someone else's shoes. Please take this one home. You can only judge someone. Actually, we should never judge, but you can only really understand a little percentage of the whys when you have walked in their shoes. So we often have children, teenagers criticizing their parents, for example. They hold a grudge, an unforgiveness about something sometimes petty. Why can't I have designer shoes like everybody else? Why this? Why do we live here? Why don't we go on holiday? Why? So they have this resentment. When you become a mother yourself, or a father, because I believe there are men watching us too, and it's okay. When you become a grandmother, then you will be able to see things in a different perspective. You will understand that it's important to visit your loved ones, to care for them, because they need you. But now you are all free and healthy and strong. You don't think about these things. So pay attention to people around you, and then it will be easier for you to forgive because you will put yourself in their shoes. There must be a reason why my mother did what she did. There must be a reason why my father did what he did. Why is my father an alcoholic? He's trying to mask hurt that he has inside of him. People with addictions, Chris, and I'm sure you know this as well from people you've advised in the church. You know that people turn to addictions to forget their past. So it's not really intelligent to complain or expose the situation of your family member and feel hurt about it, because the real victim here is not you, is that person. So I think we really have to look at ourselves and really understand that we need as much forgiveness as people who hurt us. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with a real life story for you to watch carefully, for you to see that there is a way to forgiveness. Okay? And there's also a book suggestion for the family. All right? That's all for now. Join us again next week. And if you have any questions, if you want to get in touch with us, we are Pastors' Wives. We are always available for advice sessions. Every single day, book an appointment. We are always around and we will be happy to sit down with you. If you need to chat with someone via text, maybe you don't want to call our 24-hour helpline, but you are more comfortable texting, there is also our WhatsApp line, which is 020-7686-6010. All right? See you again next week. Tula, that's all for now.
Yep, see you.
Bye-bye.
One of the earliest memories of my life is feeling very lonely and scared. I remember being around a lot of arguments and fighting and being left with a lot of other family members. When I was around 5, maybe, I was left with someone I guess they trusted. I didn't understand it at the time because I was so young, but they took advantage of me. What I remember till today is the smell of that person, and anything that smelled anything like that just made me feel uncomfortable. I wanted my mum to be around, and the times that she would be around, it just was very abusive. We would pretend like we were going to school. We would dress up in the morning, leave the house and not going to school. So until it got really bad, the teacher actually called our parents. My mum started getting phone calls. She started getting really upset with me, and that's when it came down to that day. She told me to go back to where I came from. Called Childline and they immediately called the police. Eventually they had no other option than to put me into a children's home. I ended up making as many friends as I could in there because I knew that these kids were the only family I had. We would run away together, we would smoke together, we would go out and steal together. One day we arranged to meet at a party. I ended up going to this party to meet my friends there, and they weren't there, and it was just adults there that wouldn't let me leave. They took me to a bedroom, these 2 men, where they took turns and raped me. I was 14 years old and I was free to drink and smoke and do everything that I could do to forget, to fill the void. So me and the kids from the children's home would go out looking for a target, and we looked at this lady who looked like she was coming from work, like a businesswoman. So we said, yeah, she looks like she has money. And we tried to snatch her bag, but she wasn't letting go of the bag. So she's pulling, we're pulling, she's pulling, we're pulling. And finally, she let go of the bag. But unfortunately for us, we got stopped by the police and we were charged with robbery. We went on a trial, which the judge found us guilty for this crime and gave me personally a year in a secure unit, which is like a children's prison. After being released early due to good behavior inside, I got into a relationship with a guy I literally just met on the high road. A short period of time, he became very controlling. That relationship made me feel so worthless to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. So one day I took all the tablets that I could find and I went and sat in the park and took an overdose. I woke up in a hospital where I had to see a psychiatrist, and eventually they discharged me. When I come out of the hospital, the next day I got on a bus. I didn't know where the bus was going. I just wanted to go away from my problems. In my mind, I was thinking, God, why is my life like this? Why do I hate my life so much? I was looking down and I looked up and I saw Help Center. I immediately rang the bell and got off the bus, and something said to me, go in there. So as I walked inside, there was a service going on, and I remember this sense of, I can't even describe it. It was like amazement and shock at the same time, and I just started crying. As soon as the service finished, I just went to the front and I felt like God was telling me, you're not alone. Like, I brought you here for a reason. Eventually attending the services, I started learning more about God, learning about how I could change my life. People around me saw the change inside of me. I started being more interactive and speaking more about the issues that I was dealing with. And now I no longer hate my life. I no longer see myself as this dirty girl that's not lovable. Even when things get hard for me, I know that I can go on my knees, I can pray, I can seek God, and I'll find a way. God bless my family are now in the church as well. My son is growing so big, and even my love life is being blessed and God honored, and I'm now engaged and gonna get married very soon. God has literally transformed my whole life, and He's given me more than I even thought I needed.
Having a home is not synonymous with building a family. This word evokes emotion. It is with our family that we make our first contact when we come into this world. This bond is so strong that we are capable of anything for the love of our own. But what makes this connection so strong? The Profile of a Family of God book shows what it takes for you to have a family rooted in faith and firm in the commitment to live according to God's teachings. See the transformation in your family through the power of faith.